Afternoon. Shall we start with team news? No number of players not out there, but I guess Bergvall is the main one because of him limping off on Tuesday. Paulinho, anyone else you're expecting back? No Solanke, but I'm guessing that's just managing minutes. Fill us in.
Unfortunately, Lucas picked up an ankle injury, so keep being very unlucky with injuries, and it looks like it could be a longer one. He's been assessed these 2 days, so time frame I'll know more about. In the next couple of days. Paulinho is progressing. Could be close for Burnley, but that can be a tight one. Dominic Solanke and Destiny Xavi, all three got well through the game against Dortmund, and just extra recovery for various reasons, and all three should be available for Burnley on Saturday.
So just to clarify, so you sort of said a long one, it's going to be a couple of months for Bergvall. Am I right, it's a similar injury to the one he had on his other ankle last season?
It's ankle injury, and a longer one, and the time frame I'll come back to when we know more in the next couple of days.
Okay. So tell us then, after what has been quite a difficult week or so, how well did you sleep on Tuesday night?
In general, I sleep okay well, but of course it was a big win for all of us. It was a much needed, I would say, performance and win, and I was very happy the way we had it. For example, I think we started very well in the first 25 minutes before the red card. I think we were the team that was in charge, a team that was dominating, teams that looked dangerous, the teams that looked confident, going forward, aggressive, exactly what we would like to be, and throughout performed a good game against a good team and won a well-deserved win. So now it's up to us to build on it, to keep adding layers and keeping, I can say, the result consistency, and also adding even more to performances. I've said it and I mean it. It's not been through the roof all, but the last 8 games there's much more consistency. There's much more in those performances that could have given us much more than we got so far. But we need to keep it up with another top performance against Burnley, and we come on a top performance, top concentration, give us a top opportunity to win the game.
And how hard is it when you watch your team do that to be able to get them to back it up a few days later in the Premier League? Because when you come off wins in Europe, we've seen a sort of home loss to Fulham and away loss to Forest, that ability to just get that mindset where it needs to be a few days after it has looked a little different.
I also think, I can't remember all of them, I also think we've seen a win after a Champions League game. I'm pretty sure of that, actually, if I'm honest. So it's not like we're losing every single time we have lost or played a Champions League game. So we 100% won at least once, if not twice, after a Champions League game. Anyway,
but the mindset.
But anyway,
you saw from the beginning of that game.
I would say the thing is, what you're bang on is, it's a big task, but that's what we want, and that's where we want to be. It's a big task to perform every third or fourth day. We want the big task, and we need to perform every third or fourth day. But that's where we, how can you say, build that strength, determination, mental power, focus to go, resilience to go every third, fourth day. That's what we are try to do our very best to build on.
And just finally for me, we know you had your lunch with the hierarchy a few days or just before the Dortmund game. I'm guessing more support off the back of that this week ahead of what is a really big league game, and when you look at some of those league games coming up, it feels like a kind of big moment in Tottenham's season.
I think the support, has been exceptional throughout the season. Not only, I know there's a few questions about me, but it's not about me. It's about me, the staff, the players, the club, and that need to be aligned, and that direction and alignment is very clear from ownership to the board, to Vina, Johan, everyone is on the same page, and there's a lot of things going in the right direction. We just need to back it up with even more good performance and more good result. Had lunch with Nick and Johan again today, so I think it's again a good sign of just that support there is, and we need to keep going. We have it's always the next game that is the most important one, and away to Burnley is a very important one. After that, there's away game to Frankfurt, very important one. All the games are very important, and I know we need more points, but if you're higher up, they will also be very important, because then we'll achieve more. So I think the big thing is to how can you say, stay calm, no matter if you're getting too excited about things or it's too much whatever negative. Stay calm, do what you trust, all of us, carry on, and everything will be fine after that.
Hi, just one on Dominic Solanke. Obviously, you said that he had a sort of special programme the last couple of days. How much will his minutes need to be managed in the matches, if at all, and how close do you think he is back to the point where that doesn't need to happen anymore?
I think he is not close to it, I would say. I think we saw Solanke that was on whatever 70% or whatever. It's difficult to when you're 100%. I think we saw a lot of good things for him. He scored a goal exactly where he should be, with a nice little triple contact. But the big positive is he was where he should be in the box. There was 3 other situations where he was just doing the wrong movement and then arrived front post instead of behind the defender and on the end of the cross from Pedro, where both of them have a good connection. But that's how do you get that in? That's playing minutes together. He is a very not a physical. He's a very fit player in general and can play with high intensity throughout a game. After 65, you just are done. That means there is more to come. We would just, because it's the first 65 minutes in 7 months, something like that. So we are very aware that 2 good recovery days, then train tomorrow, then he's available and ready for Saturday, and then we take it game by game. So there's no, his injury is not, it's more his fitness, match fitness. His injury is fine.
Okay. You said you want to build now on Tuesday's performance, but specifically in away at Burnley, what does that look like? Do you think?
Yeah, but I think that's a completely different game against a different opponent. Scott Park and his team, they're a promoted team. We've seen in a lot of their games they're very competitive. Latest at Anfield, where they had a 1-1 draw. So it's going to be another extremely tight game. So it's about us. It's about we focus on what we can do to try hit a top performance and really do everything we can to win the game. How can you say, manage their threats in terms of both set pieces, counters, but be on top of it, and of course create the opportunities we need to score the goals.
How different a Burnley side, not just personnel but style and tactically, do you think you face compared to the August game?
I think there's many of the same trends, I would say. Still have some clear patterns in how they want to build. We've just been looking at them in details today. They're still very solid, working very hard for each other, very difficult to break down, know who they are, and in general they look like a good threat, especially when they play at home.
Hi Thomas. Last season Tottenham were really good in Europe, not so good in the Premier League. This season the pattern's similar, really good results in the Champions League, not so good in the Premier League. How do you change that? How do you reduce that gap between your performances?
That's a good question. We badly want to win every game. We badly want to do very well in the Premier League. Very aware that the result hasn't been where we want them to be. We are fully focused, you said to the players today, the top players, the best teams, where we want to be. They know we need to come with a absolutely elite top mindset on Saturday and build on the win and the performance. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm very proud of the players, what they did against Dortmund. It's not easy when it's been a little bit windy, stormy times to go out and perform like we did against Dortmund. But it's still a little bit under the floodlights. Champions League, everything. So very good, but sometimes it can be more tricky to really hit the same wherever it is away from home, where it's not as exciting. But reality is that when you go to very, very difficult places like Burnley against a very good team and coach in Scott Park, and they know what they do, we know it's going to be very difficult. But that's what we need to build on and keep going on.
Do you think right now the Premier League is just harder? It's more competitive than European football?
I think the Premier League is, they have no doubt the best league in the world. I think the competitiveness and the evenness in the Premier League is insane. Every game is so difficult, and I think there's a lot of Premier League teams that would be. If you play whole Premier League playing in Champions League, they'll do very well. No doubt about that. Champions League is difficult, and especially when you play away from home, it's very, very difficult.
Hi Thomas, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You said before it was very difficult to perform 3 or 4 days after putting in a good
consistently.
Consistently. But yet, if I go to Wimbledon, I expect Novak Djokovic to perform every other day consistently at a high level. If I go and see Taylor Swift 3 times in a week at Wembley, I expect her to perform. Why is it so hard for a football team to perform consistently for 4 days after they've just played against a European team?
I think there is definitely football teams that can do that consistently, and that's what we're aiming for and want to do. No doubt about that. As I said, we've always also done that before. Very aware that to build that consistency where you can do it is something you need to keep working on. How can you say? That focus and a mindset and awareness and ability to could do it, because it demands such a mental strength. That's something we're working very hard on.
In terms of building consistency, playing the same team all the time is probably a good idea. I would have thought. Never managed a football team.
That helps definitely, yeah.
And the other night you were, I wouldn't say forced into playing the team you played, but you had limited options. Would you consider, obviously without Bergvall, playing the same team at Burnley because they did so well the other night, without giving away necessarily your starting 11?
Yeah, but I always think about how we can create a consistency, and that's also where it adds a little bit to the complexity in with the mental and the physical load. Who's ready to go again? Where they borderline if they are extremely the accumulated load has just been too much for some players. You even need to, not load them as much, depending on where they are coming back for injury or not, or played a lot of minutes. But there's no doubt that the best teams that are performing have a core group of players, 7 to 8, that play most of the minutes. That's just historically everything you know about it. They play most of the minutes. So that's what definitely where we need to come. How can you say end or go to?
Finally, you've had a lot of lunches this week. We've probably had lunch every day this week. But
I have lunch every week. And that's
I mean, with your bosses, you've had at least 2 lunches this week with your bosses. Without necessarily telling me exactly what they've said to you, just take us inside what that looks like. And is it normal for a manager to have lunch 2 or 3 times a week with his bosses?
I would say that there's always Nick was here this week. That was planned 5 weeks ago. So that's normal. If he's over, that we have lunch when 2 days is a training ground. I have lunch with Vinay 3 times a week because it's a good way to talk, get around all the small bits we need to do, because we're also busy with meetings and a busy schedule. The same with Johan, the same with Fabio. So that it makes sense to use that time to have lunch and talk.
Hi, Thomas. Is this the most long-term injuries you've had at one time as a manager?
Must be close to, I think, my third year in the Prem with Brentford. We also had a horrendous year, which impacted massively on the Premier League season, unfortunately. So I think this is definitely one of it. I think some of it is we always need to assess and look at what can we do to avoid some of the injuries. Then we know there's a lot of contact injuries. So the Bergwall, how unlucky is that? There was another contact injury I just recently saw. There was a Shaw. There was a few situations. Kudos. Some of them are just okay. What's happening here? It seems like we are cursed or something like that. But injuries is a part of football. So the next bit we need to look into: how can we make sure that we return to play is speeding up? That we do absolutely maximum we can to get the players back as quick as possible.
The reason I asked is I asked your predecessor the exact same question. He said along his long career it was the most he'd ever had as well, and it just feels like it can't kind of be. I know there's a lot of unlucky ones, but it almost feels like it can't be a coincidence that the club keep having these issues. And I guess what I'm asking is that department, that side of the club, something where it maybe doesn't match the expectations of the club right now?
I actually think there's a lot of moving parts in it. I think there's something in the match schedule, the amount of games. We're not the only club who is struggling with injuries at all. Many clubs have that, especially if we play European football and especially if we play Champions League. I think that's a big part of that. It's just the load is just so big. I think that the medical and the performance department overall very happy with the progress they have made this year. I think there's some clear highlights. We talked about them before. I know Rich unfortunately had a hamstring injury, but he was fit and available, and he started 12 games. He played 90 minutes games. He hasn't done that for I don't know how many years. You can check that. So that's a big upgrade. Mickey, big upgrade. Kuchi, big upgrade. The others is in a very good place. Then there's others where we have been, I would say, a little bit unlucky, unfortunately, how we get the injuries. Now the test is how can we get them returned to play. Dominic, he missed kick a ball in the pre-season camp. Yeah.
And just my last one about Nick and the lunch. I mean, he's probably someone that it's not so much
good lunch. We had, by the way, chicken sandwich today. I think it was. So
that's very nice. It was more about Nick himself. He's kind of a figure that maybe the Spurs fans don't know too much about. But obviously, he's kind of, especially this season, maybe since the summer, has become more of a kind of a known presence of the owners, I guess. I just wondered if you can kind of tell us a little bit about him and kind of way he sees the club and things like that.
I think the most visible ones is Vivian, Nick, and then Peter Carrington. All three are very determined, focused to do everything they can that this club have success. And they're very, very committed. They're very, very how can you say into it, and want to do everything they can that we get to where we all want to be in the future.
George, please. Hi, Thomas. The system used on Tuesday, sort of 3-4-3, definitely out of possession. Is that kind of something that you can sort of build on and almost be kind of the blueprint and the go-to for yourself at this club, or is that more of a sort of special operation, I guess, so to speak?
I think two ways to look at that. First thing could be a little bit special operation kind of thing, and you without always really try to have laser focus on the game in front of me or in front of us. That's where you hopefully do your best and not thinking too far ahead, and really have that focus on the next team, the next opponent, so you make sure you make a top game plan and everything is perfect. But I knew, a little time before I knew that Dortmund of course played the 3-4-3, and maybe we need to match them up in certain areas because that would be good for us in our man-man pressure, which was successful Tuesday night. I've shown before I have no problem in changing system if that's for the better with the players available. But it's a different game, different opponent on Saturday. But I like what I saw Tuesday night.
And this week there's been some reports about Mickey van der Ven and apparently not being that happy at the club. Do you kind of feel he's happy? And I guess, do you feel like the club can sort of match his ambitions?
Yeah, I just see Mickey today. He seems very happy, smiling. He was very happy after the game that we won. When he was in the changing room after the game, I think Mickey is an excellent player. I think he's a fantastic ambassador for this club. I think he has potentially his best season so far he's had. He's fit, he's strong, good defensively. He's growing as a leader, scoring goals as well. And he's a very important player for us this season and for the future.
There's sort of talk of 100 million sort of being slapped on his head as kind of the price tag. Would that force the club to consider selling him, or is he kind of off limits and not for sale, whatever the price?
I would say he's very important for us. So Mickey is a Tottenham player now and for the future.
And when you talk about Mickey, as you were talking about him, they're an important player for Tottenham now and for the future. Is there any progress on his contract? Is that something that you think you should prioritise?
That I don't know, if I'm honest. But definitely a player we should prioritise. Definitely for me, Mickey is a key player for this team and this club, and hopefully for many years to come.
He's there till 29 already. Would you like to see that sort of?
Yeah, I think he got everything what it takes to be a even better player, and he can help us to. No doubt, he can help us to get us to where we want to be, also in the future.
We know the difficult decision you had with Matty Tell. Just what have you had to put your arm around Matty this week, and what's his reaction been like?
Of course, that's very, very tough for Matty. And just to make it clear, as I understand it, it's been my challenge was it could only be him or Dom. I couldn't swap another player in or out because then I would have done it. Because I think Matty has done well for us in many ways. So it was him or Dom, and I chose Dom because I said that experience he did luckily very well and all that. It's not the same that I don't like Matty at all. He started for the last 5. I think that's a clear signal that I also trust him and believe that he can do something good for the team and for the club. I actually think there is something that UEFA need to look into to modernize those rules in general. I think when they made the rules, we had 6 group stage games. Now we have 8. Before that, we had no games in January. Before that, a lot of the group stage was done after 4 games. Now with the new format, it's like to the end. You need to fight more or less every team. We also gone up from 3 to 5 substitution. That means you use more games. In general, the matches just keep creeping up. For the Euros and the World Cup, bigger squads. So I think we need to look into it. Also, the changes we can do after January. Now I think it's only 3. I can't see why that shouldn't be more. Why you can't change during if you have injuries. And how we're not the only club who's struggling with this. Definitely not. And I know that Johan brought it up to the Premier League meeting last year. So I think that's something we need to look into, which would have helped the situation with Matty. And going back to that, of course, there is it's a football decision. It happens. It's not that I think it's nice to make that decision, but I try to take the best decision for the team every single time. Unfortunately, it impacts people, impact Matty in this case, and of course we need to get around him.
Can I just ask about one of his, I think, good friends, given they're French, and the 21 team together? Wilson Odegaard is someone who's really come to the fore the last few weeks, particularly playing out on that right-hand side. When you sort of speak to people about him, he seems like quite a quiet character off the pitch.
Wilson?
Yeah. Wilson. That's fair. He's clearly got a lot of talent. It's one of your biggest challenges sort of getting the confidence into him to go and really show what he can do?
Yeah, I think he played a good game against Dortmund. I think he was really lively. I think he created 2 goals, had 2 assists. Really strong his 1v1. I thought his defensive side of the game was good as well. How can we get that consistency into him? Because I think he scored the Villa goal and one in the Copenhagen, I think, also in Champions League. So, but also I think he actually played more minutes to could have produced even more. But I think overall his season, there's more positive in my head, more positive actions, more positive situations, and he just needs to keep going.
And in the last few weeks, months with the stormy weather, as you put it, I mean, what has that taught you about yourself and your players?
I think the players are strong personalities. I think it's a big task to ask them, but it's about that, to be able to keep the noise out and keep going no matter what, and focus on what you can affect. Same with myself. It's of course there's a few more questions about how can you say, negative situations or whatever, instead of just talking football or more positive things, and that's part of it in this world. When it's not going the way you exactly want it sometimes. Said we work very hard every day to make sure that we do the right things and keep progressing.
Lastly, can I just check on his size back?
Yeah.
He was ill, taken ill, and went to hospital. It sounds quite worried when you read it, but he's now back here. Is he available?
Yeah, he's back here. He's back here. And was on the pitch today to do a little bit, and is ready to train tomorrow and ready to selection for selection for Saturday.
Hi Thomas, what's your relationship like with Bissouma now?
I think that's been fine along the way. He's been pretty unlucky with injuries more or less throughout the season. So now he's back, trained very well today. I think he had a good impact when he came on the pitch against West Ham. So I'll say fine.
Because I mean, he didn't play obviously in between that whole period. You dropped in the squad for your first game, didn't see him again for a long time. And is it fair to say he was sort of being punished during that period? He was out of the picture because of that, or was it also injuries?
No, that was clear injuries. He made a mistake. That was a consequence of that. After that, he got injured literally 2 days after in training. That's why he was out of the squad.
So it wasn't a kind of ongoing...
No, it was injury, yeah.
And I mean, obviously, he's one of those players who seems to have a very high ceiling, you know. When he's on it, he's a real top player, but I think managers have found it difficult, other managers before you have found it difficult to kind of get that consistency out of him. No,
Bissouma has a great top ceiling. I think his qualities we can all see on the ball, really want the ball, constantly seeking it, looking forward, driving forward, very good technical abilities, physical stature, strong player. So I agree, it's the best players, they can consistently perform day in, day out, years over years. So that's what he needs to find.
What's his status now though? I mean, his contract's out in the summer, and is he for sale this month? Is he an important player for you in the second half of the season? Or where does he sit on that spectrum?
I would say it's fair to say that we are not that many players. And he's a good player. And he did very well against West Ham, so he's a Tottenham player, and the only thing we're focusing on is he available for Burnley on Saturday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
On the subject of not players, there's sort of stories about Tel, an interest from France. You've got a couple of players on loan. Is there any scope to wriggle and change things, do you think?
No, the players we have in our squad we need to keep to have. Enough players to play with and perform with, because one thing is the Dortmund game where we had not had that many available players. It's difficult to change the game if you need it or keep the freshness up, and you can see we put Junai on, which was lovely by the way, and I think it did fantastic, and I think it was clearly a player with a big potential, but also putting Pedro into the midfield, so you need to be a little bit creative sometimes. So and the good thing is we have definitely more players available for Saturday, but we need all the players available.
And And when you talk about Mickey, as you were talking about him, they're an important player for Tottenham now and for the future. Is there any progress on his contract? Is that something that you think you should prioritise?
That I don't know, if I'm honest. But definitely a player we should prioritise. Definitely for me, Mickey is a key player for this team and this club, and hopefully for many years to come.
He's there till 29 already. Would you like to see that sort of?
Yeah, I think he got everything what it takes to be a even better player, and he can help us to. No doubt, he can help us to get us to where we want to be, also in the future.
And finally, if I may, can I just ask? After West Ham game, it left you 10 points clear of the bottom three. I think it's took you 9 off the top 5. Do you feel the mood was so end of days? Do you feel like you were in a relegation fight at the moment, or you might get drawn into it, or is that not happening?
Nah, just the only thing I'm focusing on is let's perform against Burnley on Saturday. Put a top performance out there, win the game, and then the next game after that is Frankfurt in the Champions League. That's what I'm focusing on.
Last season we all saw sort of Europe carried the club, and the Premier League form just went.
Yeah.
At one point, sort of almost given up on.
Yeah.
But last season the bottom 3 were gone almost.
Yeah.
This year they're not. What would happen if the Premier League form goes like that?
No, but our Premier League form, we need to pick it up. So that's nothing I'm how can you say, thinking about that it should gone. I think the only thing we need to do is to get momentum in the Premier League, perform and win on Saturday, and then take from there. Thank you.
To finish, please.
Thomas, on the UEFA squad rules you mentioned, you said that Johan had brought up the Premier League meeting. Do other Premier League clubs feel the same way, and you spoke to UEFA about it? Because the points you make are right, the competition has grown, injuries are going one way.
I don't know exactly if other Premier League clubs feel the same, but I could imagine they would be happy to have more players available as an opportunity. I don't know who is impacting the UEFA, but we definitely should try to do that because I think it is an issue also for how can I say, player health in general.
Thanks. Do you think sorry Thomas, on that point, do you think the other European countries would feel the same way?
The other European countries? I think there's definitely the other top teams in the other leagues also play a lot of games. I know we play in general more over here. France also have 2 cup tournaments, don't they, and so on. So I definitely think that could be something like that as well.
But just on Matty, you didn't actually say what his reactions have been like this week.
No, of course he was disappointed. That's natural. I completely understand him. He's disappointed, but he's been very professional. I said that before. He's got a strong character.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.